What's up, y'all? It's Tony from Tony Renee 1. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. I'm sitting right here with my beautiful wife, Renee. Say hey, baby.
Hey, y'all.
Today we're going to talk to y'all about how to handle anxiety right after this. What's up, y'all? So I wanted to talk to y'all about anxiety because anxiety is something that I feel like I hold personally and close to myself. It's because I've had my own personal experiences with it. But before we get into that, I want my wife to give y'all the definition of what anxiety is and what it's about. So can you share that?
I sure can. Okay, so really simply put, one, anxiety is very normal. I just want to start off by saying that. People experience it in different ways. But really what it is, it's just kind of your body's natural way of responding to unfamiliar or uncertain situations. That's it.
Yeah.
Anytime you have something that's uncertain, something where you may not know the outcome, something that's unfamiliar, something that's new, you might notice some like body reactions, mood reactions, mind reactions in response to that. So for example, being a new parent.
Yes.
We both know what that's like.
Yeah.
And when that's new to you, you can start to feel an increase in anxiety, increase in stress, nervousness, uneasiness, because it's new and it's unfamiliar territory, right? Starting a new job, taking an exam, taking a test, anything like that where you might not know the outcome or it might feel uncertain, you can have anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety is definitely real. So I've been dealing with anxiety for probably about 15 years, right? And that's a long time now that I think about it. And it first started when I was in high school, around about my sophomore year or my sophomore year. And I started to notice that I felt like I was going crazy. You know, my mind was racing. It was hard to catch my breath. It kind of felt like I was having a heart attack, like something was really going wrong. I was in a constant state of fear. I was in a constant state of worry and anxiousness, and it just really made me feel uncomfortable. It took a toll on my personal relationships with my friends. It took a toll on my personal life, and it scared my mom to death. She was like, oh, what is going on with my son, And it was one of those things that I felt like people didn't talk about, people didn't talk about. And so I didn't understand what was actually happening to me. And a lot of that anxiety was based upon my life experiences, the events that I was experiencing in my life at such a young age. So that's where a lot of it came from. And that's kind of part of the reason why we wanted to create this video and to be able to give you some information to let you know that this is normal and it can happen to anybody. So that's pretty much how mine got started, and I still deal with that to this day. So we're gonna get more into that with this video.
Absolutely, thank you for sharing that. And here's the thing, that's kind of one of the big barriers with it, is that people aren't talking about it.
Yeah.
So if you experience anxiety, however nobody's talking about it, you feel like something's wrong with you.
Yes.
Or you feel like you're
crazy.
abnormal or going crazy or having a heart attack, because it can feel like that, right? You can have these physical body reactions to something that's happening to you internally, psychologically, because it's mind, body, spirit, it's all connected. But if you don't know that that's a way that can look, or you don't know anybody who talks about having anxiety, then you think it's just something going on with you, which really it may be something more common than you think.
Yeah.
So another good thing to remember is anxiety looks different for different people.
Yes.
So the symptoms of anxiety look really different, and Tony's going to tell you a little bit about his symptoms here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes people can have symptoms of being like really nauseous, really sick to their stomach, get really fatigued. Sometimes anxiety can start to mimic some depressive symptoms where they can get really blocked off, isolated. It kind of affects the way they interact with people. I know you talked about earlier, it affected your relationship with your friends. So sometimes people will isolate because it could be certain things out about, or certain people or places that may cause anxiety in them, so they stay away from it, which can make it look like they're being distant or withdrawn, but really they're trying to handle the anxiety but may really not know how to. So anxiety looks different for different people. So the first thing is being able to recognize what does it kind of look like and feel like for you, and how do you know when it's happening or when it's coming. So I think one good piece is maybe talking about kind of what's worked for you, and I can kind of share what I've also heard and experienced that works too.
So typically what I've noticed with my anxiety, I've been having it so long and been dealing with it for so long, I kind of can feel, what it's like before it starts. I can kind of start to feel myself starting to have anxiety, and I've caught on to the symptoms. So typically it feels like I'm on a roller coaster, you know, like you know how you get at the peak of the roller coaster, you're about to go down the hill, and that's what my stomach starts to feel like. My mouth starts to get dry, my thoughts start racing, and it's like I can't get control of my thoughts. My hands start sweating, I start stumbling over my words, and so I start getting real uncomfortable and anxious, and a lot of times I can get irritated because people around me may not necessarily understand what I'm going through, and you know, it may seem like, you know, sounds are getting louder, people are getting louder, and it can go into a full-blown panic attack basically. So it can get hard for me to catch my breath and things. So what I have done as tools to be able to reduce some of my anxiety based off of my situation or my experiences is I, number one, always keep a bottle of water, a cold bottle of water with you, to be able to drink some water. Chewing gum really helps me. A lot of times when I have anxiety, my mouth starts to go dry, but chewing gum really, really helps me. I notice if I go to a quiet place where it's cool and nobody's around, counting back from 30 really, really helps me. Listening to music, like my favorite music, especially like jazz music or just instrumentals, really, really help. Taking a walk, if it's a nice day, just taking a walk down a street or down in a park or something like that, that really helps. Also too, what I notice, like if I'm at work or something like that, I'll usually get a pen, you know, the pen that kind of like pops at the top, like the clicker pens. I'll get that pen and I'll click to my favorite tune or my favorite music and build a rhythm up, you know, and that helps me distract myself from what I'm thinking about, because I'm thinking about keeping to the beat of this rhythm here. So that's what I'm doing. That has really, really helped me. Also, more than anything, what has helped me is actually talking to somebody. You know, I talk to my wife a lot. I talk to my mother about my anxiety based off my experiences. It really, really helps me. That helps me kind of like unravel and deal with what situations are causing me to have anxiety. So that's a lot of things that have really, really helped me. So.
Okay, coping skills. That's what that is. Those are coping skills.
Yeah.
Basically, those ways that you handle, tools that you can use to handle anxiety. Yeah. And really, those are really some awesome coping skills that you can use to handle any type of stressful situation or any type of situation that causes you some type of distress internally. So, how can I add to all those wonderful things?
Oh, and I can also tell you too, from personal experiences, caffeine does heighten your sense of anxiousness. Especially if you are drinking cups of coffee in the morning, you know. And so most people, that may be their normal experience to get ready for the work day. But if you have anxiety, that really adds more and it intensifies it. And that's just my own personal experience. So I try to be very, very careful on drinking coffee, drinking sugary sodas with a lot of caffeine and things like that in it. So yeah.
Yeah, so actually I can use that as my segue to my next point, which is some things you can do to help handle the anxiety. I'm going to talk about some things you can maybe reduce. Caffeine is one of them. So of course, you know, if I sit here and say eliminate caffeine and wake up every day and go to work and don't drink a cup of coffee every day, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'm not doing that. So yeah, not necessarily eliminate caffeine, but reduce it and then pay attention to if it's helping, right? So like Tony was saying earlier, he identified his triggers, like, you know, what kind of things, what kind of situations, people, places cause them to have anxiety. If you notice that you have anxiety around a certain type of day, or maybe there's a certain day of the week where you have to present at work, or maybe there's a certain time of day where you tend to get anxious, pay attention to your caffeine intake before that time comes up and see if it makes a difference, and just notice. Alcohol intake is another one that, and if you like to drink recreationally, okay, but again, that's something that you want to monitor and see if it's affecting your anxiety levels, because these are substances that can alter your mind and your mood. So, you know, you just have to be mindful that there are ingredients and things in those that do affect the way you think and the way you kind of process your emotions, so they do matter. So just kind of look at your intake, how much you're drinking, how much you're taking in, and just reduce it and see if it's making a difference. As a mental health clinician, what I really love and what I practice is mindfulness. Now I will tell you real quick. Now when I first heard about mindfulness, I really just had this vision of like sitting in the middle of my living room floor for like 15 minutes and just neglecting all my duties. And I was like, yeah, I can't really do that. Well, that's not mindfulness, y'all. I mean, that's kind of this image that we think of when we think of like meditation or, you know, mindfulness or stillness, but that's not really the case.
Yeah.
Really what mindfulness is just kind of observing and describing what's going on inside of you, just noticing it. So like taking deep breaths. Taking deep breaths is really, really huge at reducing anxiety in the moment, because you gotta think, when you're having anxiety, you're having all these changes in your heart rhythm, your heart's beating faster, you're sweating, your adrenaline's getting up. So as you're breathing deeply, you're actually regulating your heartbeat, you're actually slowing things down internally, and you can start to feel a difference on the outside. And it sounds like Tony can attest to that. So taking deep breaths, and I'm gonna tell you right now, how many deep breaths have you taken since I've been talking? You don't really know, right? Because I don't really know how many I've taken, because we don't really actually stop and think about, wow, I just took a deep breath. We don't do that a lot. So really mindfulness is just paying attention to what's happening in my body. And the more and more you can pay attention to what's happening, the more you can start to develop strategies to catch it before it gets to a place where it feels like you're out of control.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so.
And also too, if you have an anxiety, and what has helped me too, like if I'm having anxiety while I'm driving or something like that, let's say I'm driving in some bad weather conditions and people are driving crazy, you know, that can set my anxiety and start to making me go into a full-blown panic attack. So typically what I do is also another good measure is let down the window and kind of like feel that the wind blowing as you're driving, or you can pull over and regroup yourself, and then you can go ahead and continue. I've even went as far as creating myself my own playlist of music based off my emotions to be able to help set me in the mood, or set my emotions in the mood to be able to be relaxed. So that has really, really helped me too. And then also too, you gotta be comfortable enough and to a point where if you are having anxiety, and there's a lot of people around, just kind of removing yourself from the situation just for a little bit to regroup yourself. Or if somebody's talking to you, say, hey, hold on a second, I have to use the restroom, I have to go to my car real fast, and kind of get yourself together. So it's okay for you to kind of remove yourself out of the situation of where you are, just to kind of regroup yourself, and so you're not going into any type of anxiety attack or anything like that.
Absolutely. Wow, these are awesome tips. I really hope y'all write these down, okay? Because these are really, really good tips to managing your anxiety. So we're not saying that we're gonna make the anxiety go away. Anxiety is an emotion, it's a feeling, it's something you experience. However, these are some tips on how you can handle it, how you can manage it, how you can recognize when it's happening in you, what it looks like when it's happening in you, not what it looks like in other people, what it looks like when you're experiencing it, and how to catch it and manage it before you feel out of control. So, that's what we got for y'all today. Anxiety is really, really real, and we are really, really real. So we just wanted to share with y'all some truth about our own experience. We wanted to give you some tips on how you can manage anxiety if you're having it. As always, as I am always telling y'all, make sure that you are using your support people. Make sure that you are using resources wherever you are locally. If there's anybody that you feel like you need to talk to, if there's anybody that you feel like you need to share with, please reach out and connect with somebody locally to you, whether that looks like therapy or support group or family or friends, whatever, what have you. As long as you support it, because you are not alone. Even if you feel like you are not. So thank y'all for tuning in with us. As always, make sure that you follow, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you share, tell everybody about this video, because they need the tips too. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. What are you waiting on? And Tony, tell them what's up.
And I just want to let y'all know before we let y'all go, remember, anxiety is a normal feeling, okay? Anybody can go through anxiety. It's based off their life experiences and how they're responding to their life experiences, okay? So you're not going crazy, all right? It's normal. I'm going through it too, so I guess we go through it together. As always, remember to think, create, and change your own situation if you don't like it. Peace!
No, no, no.